Valamorgulis, motherfuckers. Let's jump right into it and start talking about what I thought the best thing about that episode was. The second episode, that is. In hindsight, I feel the season premiere, while I did enjoy it, it was a bit lackluster, maybe. This episode was way better. Just plot development, fucking everywhere. And I'm not talking about, hey, here's some Martells for 8 seconds before we murder them all. I'm talking about actual plot changes, actual character developments, actual surprising twists. The best part, I felt, was definitely the new stuff with Bran. I used to fucking hate Bran. He was a boring-ass, weak-ass character who just pissed me off. But he's back, and he's looking awesome. Usually, I sort of treat flashbacks as somewhat lazy storytelling. It is a device typically used in lieu of not being able to make a good plot. But here I think it really works. Particularly the stuff they are going back to examine. I think not only seeing characters like Ned Stark as a boy, but seeing young Benjen Stark, seeing old Nan as still an old person, but slightly younger. Seeing young Roderick Cassell, I felt it really gave a sense of connection to the earlier parts of the show and made a lot of characters relevant again. Like Benjen, who has always been one of my favorites, despite the fact that he was in 3 episodes. And the Hodor joke, that was pretty funny. I really enjoyed that. But yeah, that was all good. And the promo next episode is for a flashback to the Tower of Joy. I hope they don't do too many flashbacks. Like, if they just do this one and the Tower of Joy one, I think I'd be satisfied. I don't really want them to go beyond that. But Tower of Joy is looking amazing next episode. And if we are to believe that R plus L equals J, the next episode we might actually find out who Jon Snow's mother is. What? I'm still not caring about Meereen. It's got some of my favourite characters there at the moment. Tyrion's there, Varys is there, and I still don't give a fuck about it. I mean, the scene with the dragons, that was kind of cool, and I like the idea of the dragons being intelligent and sentient and all that. I don't know, I found Tyrion a bit whiny when he was like, I cried myself to sleep because there are no dragons left in the world. I don't know, it wasn't the best Tyrion episode, I think. Not terrible, but I still don't give a fuck about Meereen. The big twist of the episode, spoilers. Lord Roos's death, that was fantastic. I like how I say spoilers and then I say the spoiler like 2 seconds later. That wasn't really helpful, was it? Well, I had it spoiled for me beforehand, so whatever. But Lord Roos's death really did shock me. I thought that was quite good. It was in keeping with Ramsay's character. It's giving him more screen time. I feel it gave Roose a good ending. It's really continuing on the whole Bolton philosophy of survival of the fittest. You kill whoever you have to survive. And on that note, I loved how brutal Ramsay's murder of Lady Bolton was. Fat Walder. That was vicious. I was slightly annoyed that they didn't actually give the newborn Bolton kid a name. I know, that always annoys me when a show doesn't do that. It would have taken like 3 seconds. But yeah, we've got a Karstark with the other dude in the room was a Karstark, the only surviving Karstark left. So I know, maybe we'll get some more northern intrigue this season. I'm really excited for that. I don't think we'll get the White Harbour storyline, much to my disappointment, because that was always one of my favourite ones in Dance of Dragons, but I'm keen for some intrigue amongst the Northern Lords, and I'm keen to see where Ramsay's going next. The Greyjoys are back! Well, after like 3 fucking seasons, the Greyjoys are back, and he's dead. I can't really blame the showrunner for that. He died Balon died like 3 books ago, so I feel they're just catching up here. But that scene on the bridge, that was one of my favorites. So I feel that's really where the fact that the show doesn't have to follow only certain characters really gives itself an advantage. Like, the books couldn't show something like that confrontation between Balon and Euron because there weren't any viewpoint characters involved. But that's one of the things where I think the show comes out a lot stronger. And I loved the introduction of Euron. The introduction of Aeron Damphair, the priest, that felt a bit weird. I feel they're just trying to cram him in so he can become relevant later. And I'm curious to see if they're going to put Victarion in it. But if they don't, imagine if Asha takes over that storyline. Yara, we're in the show now. Instead of Victarion sailing to Slaver's Bay to claim Daenerys, it's Yara sailing to Daenerys Bay. We can have some Yara and Daenerys action. That would be not in that way. We can have some Yara and Daenerys interaction, which would be fucking amazing, because that will never happen in the books, and it would be a really awesome thing to see. But to the last sort of thing, I guess, Jon Snow coming back. I was kind of disappointed, to be honest. Like, I'm glad Jon Snow is back. But the way they did it seemed weird. I don't know, the structure of the seasons has always been like the very last moment or scene of a season has always been something quite magical. The only one that really violated that was the end of season 4 when Arya sailed off to Braavos. But I suppose the end of the last season when Jon Snow stabbed to death. The first 3 seasons all ended with a distinctly magical overture and connotations. The birth of Daenerys' dragons, the reveal of the White Walkers, and I feel that really works. And I feel to bring Jon Snow back is something you'd either want to do in the first episode or the very last episode. The second episode feels a weird time to do that. Like, it does give us an opportunity to see Melisandre's downfall, which was awesome last episode, and I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't see that again this episode. It was kind of interesting to see her all depressed and mopey, and I did enjoy the interaction between Davos and her, because I've never really seen Davos be nice to her, and that was quite interesting. But yeah, I expected the resurrection of Jon Snow to be done with more pomp and circumstance, not just a few people in a room. I feel it'll be done a lot bigger in the books, and I feel Shireen is going to have a big role to play in that, because she's not dead in the books yet. But I don't know, I was expecting something bigger. I am really interested to see it, but yeah. In closing, I would like to dedicate this review to Sunraj Patel for ruining the final scene for me. Yeah, that's right. He told me Jon Snow was coming back before I watched the episode. So, fuck that guy. Yeah. Anyway, I'll see you next episode, which is looking awesome. So, Valador Hyrus, motherfuckers.